and welcome to ConsumerHallaTV News at 8. I am Iri Ayomikule Eke. Let's begin with the headlines. Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission set to arraign multi-choice CEO over alleged impending investigation. Nigeria is set to sign over 30 MOUs with Brazil over land visit. Federal government set to raise 100 billion with fresh bond issuance. Starting the news, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, will arraign Multichoice Nigeria Limited, its CEO John Ugbe, and some of the pay TV directors for allegedly impending its investigation and failing to comply with its lawful summons regarding its service. This is according to the charge sheet marked FHC ABJCR 197-2025 filed by the FCCPC legal team led by Nsim Chizenum. Meanwhile, as reported by Newsman, the development comes days after the Federal High Court in Abuja dismissed MultiChoice Nigeria Limited suit on the 8th of May 2025, seeking to uphold its DSTV and GoTV price increase in Nigeria. However, in the charge sheet where John Ugbe, Gozie Onomono, Adewumi Ogunsoya, and 5 others were named as defendants, still in remarks, the MultiChoice Nigeria Limited was accused of failing without sufficient cause to appear before the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission on the 6th day of March 2025, in compliance with its lawful summons dated 25th of February 2025. Bringing you another news now. Nigeria is set to sign more than 30 Memorandum of Understanding MOUs with Brazil as the second session of the Nigeria-Brazil Strategic Dialogue Mechanism kicks off in Abuja. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications of the Office of the Vice President, Stanley Kocha, disclosed this yesterday in a statement announcing the arrival of Brazil Vice President Gelado Aklmin. To begin with a high-profile 3-day state visit aimed at deepening bilateral ties between the two countries. According to the statement, the strategic meeting is expected to culminate in the signing of more than 30 MOUs covering a broad range of strategic sectors, including defense and security cooperation, agricultural technology, transfer energy collaboration, and transition initiatives, as well as cultural and educational exchange programs, and also the trade facilitation and industrial development. And now let's give you another update as the federal government of Nigeria, through the Debt Management Office, has offered green bonds valued at a sum of 100 billion for subscription at 1,000 per unit. Announcing the offer on its X handle yesterday, the DMO explained that the latest offer consists of a 50 billion 5-year reopening bond due in April 2029 and the 50 billion which is due on the 7 years bond, and this will be due on June 2032. Furthermore, both in an interest rate of 19.3% semi-annually, and the agency has also announced that the auction date is 23rd of June, while the settlement date is on the 25th of June. Let's move to the foreign news now. Now on the foreign scene, Qatar's largest dairy producer, Baudana, is set to establish a multi-million-dollar dairy and food processing facility here in Ogun State and Nigeria, to be precise, to strengthen Nigeria's domestic dairy production and reduce reliance on imports. The announcement was made during a courtesy visit by the Baudana team, accompanied by the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, Aisha Rimi, to Governor Dapo Abiodun in Abeokuta. However, Governor Dapo Abiodun welcomed the development and assured Baudana of Ogun State its full support, highlighting the state's favorable investment climate and proximity to Nigeria's largest consumer market. Moving away from that now, let's head to Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, as the agency confirmed the arrest of the former Chief Financial Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Umar Isa, and other top officials who are still under investigation over an alleged $7.2 billion fraud linked to the rehabilitation of the Kaduna, Warri, and Port Harcourt refineries. Still pressing further on the news, a source familiar with developments within the FCC who pleaded anonymity as the official was not authorized to speak, announced this in a statement reported on Tuesday by journalists, which narrated that the investigation of the suspect is ongoing. Meanwhile, the development comes days after the Senate Committee on Public Account, chaired by Aliyu Wadada, raised the alarm concerning alleged discrepancies involving trillions of naira in the audited financial statement of the NNPCL, and the committee described the revelations as mind-boggling and worrisome, underscoring the concern stemmed directly from the analysis of the NNPCL audited financial statement from 2017 to 2023. Right now, let's go into details as the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria FAN has announced plans to begin a phased renovation of Terminal 1 at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. The FAN Managing Director Olubunmi Koko made the disclosure during a stakeholder engagement session hosted by the agency Directorate of Commercial and Business Development. According to NAN, Olubunmi Koko noted that the renovation, though long overdue, but had been delayed by pending approvals and logistical issues. She also clarified that the terminal would not be demolished as speculated, but that specific sections would be upgraded in phases, adding that the project will start with the area while operations will be temporarily relocated to the arrival hall for a provisional departure and facility to minimize disruptions. Let's join the news bus as we move to the east and now in Owerri, the capital of Imo State, as the Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operation Unit Zone C in Owerri has disclosed that it has intercepted 13.6 kilograms of dry donkey skin worth 3.6 billion in the Imo State capital. The Custom Area Controller in charge of FOU Zone C, Abdullahi Balogun, in a statement made available to newsmen in Lagos yesterday, stated that the dry animal skins were warehoused in the 40-feet container and were built for export. However, Abdullahi Balogun also added that the prohibited item, which is classified as dried salted donkey skin, was uncovered by Eagle Hide officers following a comprehensive examination of the container. As he further explained that dry donkey skin is a product listed under the export prohibition list by the federal government due to its implications on and also on environmental balance and illegal trade in species. And now moving away from Imo State, let's move to the banking sector as Access Bank has announced the acquisition of Standard Chartered Tanzania Customer Private and Business Banking Division. The company made its announcement via its Tanzanian branch Instagram handle on Monday, claiming the move significantly expand its capacity to offer inclusive digital-driven financial service across Tanzania, East Africa, and beyond. Although the Standard Chartered has been separating its banking presence across sub-Saharan Africa, having sold its shareholding in subsidiaries in Angola, Cameroon, Gambia and Sierra Leone, and also adding that these exits become necessary in order to fund the investment in its leading wealth management business. Announcing the acquisition on Instagram, Access Bank says the development allow ease to deepen financial inclusion and also unlock economic potential for the benefit of all Tanzanians. And still about the banking sector, as we are still reporting on Access Bank, as the bank now says it is on track to comply with the CBN June 30th directive on regulatory forbearance while maintaining dividend plans. In a statement issued by its parent company, Access Holding PLC, and signed by company Secretary Sunday Kochi last week Wednesday, said the bank remains fully committed to the Apex Bank Directive, which affects dividend payment, bonuses, and investment in foreign subsidiaries. The statement follows the CBN 13th of June 2025 circular, which outlined new expectations regarding the single obligor limited and other regulatory concerns in the banking sector. In accordance with the Central Bank of Nigeria directive, the bank is currently compliant with the single obligor limited requirement as of the date herein and will continue to ensure adherence to this regulation. The company added this and also said that they have assured investors of its commitment to deliver sustainable value in the immediate and long term, and they also expressed appreciation for the trust and support of its shareholders. Bringing the news to an end, now the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the LEA has arrested 312 suspects and seized 0.672 kilograms of hard drugs in Akwa Ibom between June 2024 and May 2025. The Akwa Ibom commander of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the LEA, Obot Bassett, disclosed this on Monday during a press conference in Oyo to mark the 2025 International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. And the theme for this year observance is the evidence is clear, invest in prevention, and also break the cycle. Meanwhile, Olibasi explained that the theme reflects a strategic shift from reactive approaches to preventive measures guided by data, research, and evidence, noting that from June 2024 to May 2025, NDLEA has arrested 312 suspects, made up of 261 males and 51 females, and assist to 803.72 kilograms of drugs. She also said they have prosecuted and convicted 38 drug offenders, and they have also carried out drug addiction prevention programs at 91 locations across Akwa Ibom State, as they have rehabilitated 43 males and counted 179 persons. And now we come to the end of the news, and right now we are on news analysis. We'll be right back.
Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
Thank you for staying there with us. Still on the news belt right now, we're moving to news analysis. And on news analysis, this is where we have discussions on topical issues pertaining to the consumer interest. I am Iri Ayamikule Eke. And on the program today, we have recently witnessed an apparent increase in the pump price as against consumers' expectation of a further decrease. Meanwhile, several petrol stations, including NNPC, jacked up their prices. And as well, Dangote moved its ex-depot petrol price from 880 to 825 naira. Meanwhile, NNPC moved its pump price from 870 to 915, and as well, the average pump price is now about 955 as against 880 as it was ago last week. This is a whole lot, I must tell you, and right now we have to turn to our analyst, of course, to spring up a better conversation and for him to share more light and enlighten more on the questions that surround this issue. Now we have to turn to our analyst this beautiful morning in person of Mr. Moshood Isamotu. He's a former banker and a public analyst. It's a pleasure to have you there.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
Good morning. Good morning. And how are you doing today?
I'm fine, good.
All right, without wasting much of our time, let's dive into the order of the day. What's the cause of this issue about the fuel increase, and what should consumers expect over the next few weeks or months?
Now, one thing we need to understand is that energy crisis, which under which fuel fall under hand, is a global phenomenon, and it's a global product, and whatever happens at the global market will directly or indirectly affect the cost of fuel pricing. Remember, Nigeria at the moment, we are not self-sufficient in terms of refined oil. We still import, and that's at the same time we still have forex volatility, instability, and equally we have problem with our distribution logistics. All these three combined make it Nigeria to be susceptible to any disruptions, any instability at the global market, forex instability, and the distribution cost logistics. So this is what is happening. So it's not something unusual, because the factors that affect the price of oil today is outside the control of any nation. So what you have seen right now is a response to the global market, and of course, the situation in our local economy occasioned by forex instability and distribution logistics. So it's nothing unusual. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moshood. In reference to what you just said, do you think hike in fuel sector will end anytime soon in Nigeria?
Now, we cannot end like that. It's not something you can decree, because in single week right now, because of the Iran and the Israeli face-off, the price of WTI is West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude. They have increased between 2 to 3%. And these two things, the WTI and then Brent, these are the international benchmarks on which price is made globally. We see with this single week, we have seen the increase of up to 7% in the cost of this product. So which means globally, we have equally witnessed in this last 1 week, because of the war, we have equally witnessed 7% increase in the cost of shipping and insurance in the global market, which means any foreign crude oil coming to Nigeria has increased by the cost of in shipping and insurance from the oil we import. So significantly, this could be passed down to Nigerian economy. So until we are very self-sufficient in our fuel refinery, until we get our distribution logistics right, and until, as I said, our stability is the question of men that be.
Hello, Mr. Moshood.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay, please go on.
I can hear you.
Okay, please go on.
Except we get this right, we are going to be a victim of price fluctuation. So it's not something we can decree. It's something that has to. It's a long planning, because the price, the volatility in the forex market is not something that we can guarantee in a day, only for in some years. So these are some of the factors. So Nigeria has to get ready for such fluctuation, because since forex subsidy removed, which means we are now in a paradigm, we are now in a market-driven competition. So anytime the economic forces are favorable globally in respect of oil, we enjoy it. And when the forces are not favorable, we equally play along. That is how it is. That's how it plays.
That's a whole lot of reference. And in accordance to what you just said, is this a temporary development, or are we likely going to see a further increase in the pump price?
I didn't get you.
I said that's a whole lot of reference you just made right there. And in accordance to
now,
what did you get the question? Hello? Did you get the question?
I think, go ahead. Please come again. Please come.
Okay, I said, okay.
Come again.
I said, I said in accordance to what you said. Is this a temporal development, or are we likely going to see further increase in the pump price?
Now, naturally, because of the factors that are responsible for it are not within our control. For example, now if you discover that this Israeli and Iran war that we are part of the problem we are having right now, which are disrupted which are disrupted energy price at all. You know what the issue is that the Iran and Israeli war, they are not already. The problem is not about shortages of fuel now at the global level. The problem is a perceived risk. When there is a perceived risk in the distribution channel, the cost of distribution increases. As I've told you, about 7% have been added to the cost of transporting fuel right now at the global level because of the shipping, because of the perceived risk. So there is an increase in the shipping and an increase in the cost of insurance. So this could be transferred. So until we have stability at a global level in terms of energy crisis, and we have stability in our naira, that is why we can be sure. But this is that as soon as our local refinery capacity is increasing, and gradually we are going to be having control about the price stability. And of course, mind you, the cost of logistics, this is rainy season, the cost of distribution in Nigeria is very high.
Hello, Mr. Moshood.
As a businessman will pass the cost down to the consumer. So it's not a matter of, it cannot be a temporary thing, but it may not be sharp increase, so to say, because we now have a Dangote refinery that's already having a buffer, so to say, bridging the gap to a large extent. It would have been worse if you don't have a local refinery at all. I'm telling you, it would have been worse than this. But good enough, as soon as we have more refineries or Dangote refinery capacity is increasing, we are going to be getting more sense of stability and a little bit control over what happened to our fuel pricing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moshood Isamoto. That's a whole lot from your end. And to round off on the table this morning, hello, can you hear me?
I said thank you for having me.
But before we round it up this morning, we have recently witnessed an apparent increase in the pump price, talking about the consumers in Nigeria. How is this affecting the consumers out there? Because I think we need to look out for the end users, which are the consumers.
But consumer in this regard, they are, I will literally say they are powerless, because there's not what can do. We are already in a liberalized economy when it comes to fuel pricing. Subsidy is gone. That's one of the consequences of it. When subsidy is gone, so which means you are at the mercy of the market forces. But so consumers will get ready, and unfortunately, in this country, I would say we are not. I want to say about our level of patriotism, because any slight increase, perceived increase in the cost of marginal increase in the cost of everything, it is spiraled down to the consumers, even at a disproportionate rate. So consumers will get ready for things like this, because the cost of fuel impacts virtually everything: transportation, movement of goods. You know that we still move our goods through the rudimentary channel of roads. Alternative energy sources in Nigeria is very weak. We don't have the alternative sources yet. We still rely heavily on our home. We still continue to do fuel. Our vehicle will still continue to be on this fuel. So everything is likely impacted by this. So, and then of course the prices, it will affect the prices of how we do things or what we go to market to pick. So it's a factor that you control at.
All right, many thanks, Mr. Moshood Isamoto. It's a pleasure to have you on the news analysis this beautiful morning.
Thank you for having me. Have a blessed day.
Please do well to enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Now we've come to the end of news analysis on ConsumerHallaTV. There's a whole lot I must say. And in reference to the lashst question I asked Mr. Moshood Samotu, that what is the implications of these decisions on consumers who are the end users? And according to him, it says the consumers are powerless in this situation. I can just tell you that I think the best thing for us to do is just to keep on praying, because I believe there is nothing prayer cannot do. And now we've come to the end of news analysis on ConsumerHallaTV. Thank you for being there. I am Ire Ayomikoleke. Another beautiful edition of news analysis. Back tomorrow.
Lagos, and you're welcome to the first episode of Market Today on ConsumerHallaTV. I am Matilda Omenai. On Market Today, we'll be visiting different markets across Nigeria to check the prices and compare the prices of different products and commodities in the market that we make use of daily. And guess what? Today we are live at Computer Village in Ikeja. Yes, you heard me right. Computer Village in Ikeja. The market popularly known for its entrepreneurial spirit, innovation, and their growth and sales. So today we are here to ask the sellers how much they make daily, how sales has been since the beginning of this year up to now. Because research has shown that they make up to 2.5 billion naira per day, and majorly on phones they make up to 1.2.
Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Halla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Halla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Halla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
ConsumerHallaTV.
HallaTV.
At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our ConsumerHalla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our ConsumerHalla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
On the streets of Lagos, and you're welcome to the first episode of Market Today on ConsumerHallaTV. I am Matilda Omenai. On Market Today, we'll be visiting different markets across Nigeria to check the prices and compare the prices of different products and commodities in the market that we make use of daily. And guess what? Today we are live at Computer Village in Ikeja. Yes, you heard me right. Computer Village in Ikeja. The market is popularly known for its entrepreneurial spirit, innovation, and their growth and sales. So today we are here to ask the sellers how much they make daily, how sales has been since the beginning of this year up to now. Because research has shown that they make up to 2.5 billion naira per day, and majorly on phones they make up to 1.2 billion naira per day. So today we are here to hear from the horse's mouth. So stay with me as I ask and go around and make my findings. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so what's your name?
My name is God's Favor Forever Communication.
Okay, so what do you sell in Ikeja? What do you sell in
We sell phones, accessories, and key tablets. Yes.
Okay, so how has business been over the beginning of this year? Have you guys made a lot of sales? How has it been?
Talking about that one, says that it's kind of dull. It's dull, I'm not like. Compared to last year's sales. Last year's sales is more better than this year's sales.
It's more better than this year's sales. Okay, so what do you think could be the cause of this low sales and all that?
Even though the dollar has actually dropped, and the price of phones and tablet has dropped. It is not that effective. So I can't really predict what the exact problem is. Though we know phone is not food. People will actually look for what they will eat before they can be looking for something else they want to get for themselves or for personal use. So I can't really say.
Okay, so which brand of phone sells more?
The brand phone that sells most is Redmi.
Redmi.
Yes, it's kind of affordable, and the quality of what they actually produce is on high side. So they have affordable phones. The list, at least, trust me, if I'm talking about list of phone, Redmi is better.
Okay. So, what do you think the government can do about this? Do you think it's their fault? What do you think they can do to help increase the sales of phones in the market? We all know the current state of the economy. We know that even though people are still struggling, phones are still important things that people need. So, what do you think could be what do you think the government could do about this? What could they do to help the sales and also help the consumers on their own?
Okay, concerning that, I would say loans. Yes, with less interest. So I think with that it can still help for some areas like that. Shey you get? So that's what I can say about it.
So we've heard rumors that they want to move Computer Village to a different place. Have you heard that?
Yes, I've heard about that.
So what do you think? You think it's something that can still happen or is in the process of happening? And even if it happens, how do you think you guys can cope with it?
Yeah, concerning that, even if it happen, we in Nigeria, they've already know that there's nothing that comes our way that we can get adapt with. So it is very easy for us to adapt with anything that comes our way. But being here again is still quite okay than moving us to another place. So I don't know what government sees that they want to try and relocate us from this particular place to another place. Even though if they do that, it will take time. No, if you are talking about distance, for people to come and buy in a long distance, it will still reduce the sales. So it will still take time before everything will see rapture back. So
Okay, so what do you have to say to your customers watching this, or people or your potential buyers? What do you have to say to them?
I would say thank you for all the customers that have been patronizing us so far. We love you big big. And for other customers too, please we are begging, I beg with the beg. No, they do shakara. Kindly patronize us at Gospel Forever Communication. And trust me, to get your view gadgets or anything you want, we are going to serve you better. To serve you is our own concern, and to give you the best is our own concern. We love you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so how are you, sir?
I'm very fine. Yeah.
What is your name? Tell us your name.
My name is Chidebere Ochoba, popularly known as Obilepo Punidata.
Okay, so what's your brand name and what do you sell in Computer Village?
Okay, my brand is Man of God Communication. I do sell phones and solar panels with solar power. That is all these power generator, fuelless generator. That is what I'm into.
Okay, so how has business been for you since the beginning of this year up till now? How has business been?
Business nowadays is not like before. You understand? Everything is really, really not going the way it was. So, but we thank God that at all we are still doing fine.
So do you get what's the amount of customers you get in a day? How is it like? Do you get a lot of customers or you're still struggling with customers as a result of the state of the economy? We all understand that the economy is nothing to write home about. So how has it been for you?
Customers nowadays is not like before because And goods we do have now is not like before, because normally before, during some years back, we do receive goods on credit. Then when we, because you will see an importer giving you goods that are worth over 10 million naira on credit, giving another person goods over 5 million on credit. But all these things now are no more. You understand? Without your cash, you can't get any goods on credit.
Okay,
Now.
so why do you think they stopped giving on credit?
Because the economy is very hard now. So when you give someone goods on credit now, my dear, na japa in there. You understand? You are giving that person room of japa. But then when you give someone goods on credit, you are giving that person courage to work more hard. That when you can deliver these goods of 10 million, that means you can deliver of 20 million, and you will see it moving. Not like now, when you give somebody goods on credit of 1 million, 2 million, and you are not following that person bumper to bumper, there is opportunity of you hearing that that person is now in Cotonou. So, and that is it. That is just the fact.
Okay, so what brand of phones do people buy the more? Which is more affordable and which one do they buy the more?
The one that people buy any one that is more cheaper. You understand? They prefer coming to you to buy the one that is more cheaper. But when they buy that one that is more cheaper, they will still use police to come and arrest you for you selling that one that is more cheaper for them. I don't know if you understand. Somebody we want a phone of 4 gig 128 gig that will serve and make the network very fast. But due to he does not have that money, I will be telling you anyone. And when you give that person the China one of it in a lower price, the person will now start calling police for you. Do you see that the business is not moving very fine? Because one is that this person now does not have the money or capacity to buy a standard Android phone of 250,000. You understand? Now, but there are China phones that is 4 gig 128 gig that you can get of 80,000, 70,000. But after buying it, the person will start telling you that this is not what he demands for. It is not what you demand for, but the money or the rate of the amount you paid, is it for what you demand for? You understand that business is really very bad.
Okay, so now you made mention of Android. So, an average Nigerian now, if he or she wants to get like a very very good Android and but doesn't want that Android to be very very expensive, at what price can they get a good Android that is not expensive? And which brand do you think they should opt for?
You know that it depends on what the customer want to use that phone for. Some people are using their phones to edit. Some Android phones, some will come, they will tell you that they are using it to edit. So there are phones that if you want to use it as camera, for the camera to come out, at least you'll be having up to 200 and something thousand if you are going for a new one. But if you are going for Tokumbo and you need something that you can use to shoot, and it's going to give you a very high quality, that means you'll be holding like, and you want to go for a Tokumbo, you'll be holding like 150,000 and above. Yeah, so that is the rate of anybody that wants to. But if it's just that you want to be browsing and nothing much, browse WhatsApp, just WhatsApp, and at least with 125,000 to 130,000, you will get a good Android phone that is fast in browsing and still WhatsApping.
So, what are the challenges you face here as a phone slash gadget seller?
The challenges we face, as I said before, is just that people will come with their demand, and after that demand, you will see yourself in police station, because what they have or the money they have is not up to what they want, and they will be the one begging you to give them this thing at so price. And when you have tried your best to tell them that no, you say no, anyone, and after doing it, don't be surprised that you end up seeing yourself in writing statement to explain why you give this customer this type of food.
So now, what do you think the government can do about this?
What the government need to do about this now is that they have to work on the custom, because the custom are one of the challenges we are facing and the citizens of Nigeria are facing, because most of all these things are very cheap, but the clearance is and the tax is the issue, especially for you to clear your goods. When you import goods, to clear it, the amount that you used to bought the goods is almost 50% of what you bought, or even more than what you bought that goods. And as a businessman, you must calculate and minus and add all those things to it. So it will start affecting the people, the citizens. The citizen does not even know that one of the problems they have is the custom, the clearance fee of goods, not the goods itself. Some of all these goods that you are buying 150,000 in China, when you check it in China, it's around 30,000 naira.
Wow.
You understand? But after all the clearance fee and every other thing that you are going to pay, you will see that you are paying over 130,000 to get a phone. So that is where the problem is. So if the government can make clearance fee for people who are the importers, to be able to be clearing it, because there's competition in the market. You understand? Market is always a very big competition. So if everybody is clearing with 100,000 for one goose, everybody will still put their own interest on it, because they will still calculate it. So that is the challenges, or that is what I think the government should do to try to reduce the cost.
Okay, so what do you have to say to your customers or your potential customers?
And what I have to say to my customers is that they need to pray to God and act, because our people used to say in the Bible that okwukwe na-enwele ezi ọlụ nwụrụ anwụ n'onwe ya. So when you are praying without working towards it, there is not meaningful. So our people need to try to continue to advise our government in every social platform, reminding them that what they are doing now is triggering the military to take over. And when the military see that the country is diverting like this and the military take over, they will start pushing us that we should come out and start protesting that coup has happened and that coup should not happen, that democracy. While when in democracy that we are today, when you still talk, you will still go to prison. So what I need to advise everybody with a good platform is that in every little opportunity you have, you should advise the government, because when this country is happening like this, before you know it, they will be queue, and the military will come out and they will be expecting us to come out and be standing that no, we still stand for democracy. You see that the democracy is not even favorable for us. So we are not going to come out on that very day. But if it's going to happen, if you check other democratic country where military have taken over, is what that is happening now is what happened to them. So that is what I'm going to tell my customers.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, I'm very fine.
Okay, so tell us your name. What's your name?
Kano Emeka by name, but they call me TM Communication in Ikeja. We're located at number 14 Olayeni Street, Computer Village.
Okay, so what do you sell?
We're into gadgets, laptop and phones, game, PlayStation, PS5 and Co, and speakers.
Okay, so now we are focusing on phones. How has the business been since the beginning of this year up till now?
Beginning of this year, phone has been good on my side, but the sales drop, and I don't know. I don't know if it's the country or the economy or the people tripping into phones are much. Maybe the sellers. The buyers are more than the sellers. Is affecting it or the economy. I don't really know. But normally on the Salah holiday like this, we should be selling frequent. By now, will not be a chance to even accommodate two people. But
Okay,
now
so
we,
what challenges do you face in this place? What challenges do you face as a gadget seller and all that?
the challenges I face more in this place is the challenges should be maybe because we are looking for customer. We do post on ad online everything, but after pricing online, they will not come. They will not place order. It's a challenge too.
So which brand of phone sells more? You know, we have iPhones, we have Android, there are different brands of Android. So which phones sell more here?
iPhone is number one sales on in Nigeria. iPhone,
So when it comes to Android, which brand sells more?
Android, Techno.
Techno.
Mm-hmm. Techno sells more because Techno is affordable for everybody. Samsung is just a phone for the big men, but Techno is for the rich and the poor.
Okay, so when it comes to Android phones, which brand do you think that an average Nigerian can get and it's very affordable for them to get?
And they will enjoy the work of the phone and gig. Still fall back on Techno or Itel.
Okay, so like how much is it? That particular
you
one
get-
that's affordable.
If you are getting a Samsung phone for 500,000, that will give you all what you want for phones. Because you will get it in a Techno phone that is 100,000 naira. Yes.
Wow.
But just that the durability of Samsung will be more stronger than the Techno. Then the accessory for the Samsung is expensive more than the Techno. The parts.
Okay, so what do you think the government can do to help, improve the sales in the market, or I don't know, make phones affordable for the consumers?
I don't think the government have. I don't think government can do anything about it.
Okay, so you don't think it's the government's fault that phones are expensive?
The only thing government could do is to make the money flow. When it flow, people can come and buy phone and sell phone and get anything they want with the money, with the economy, like I said.
Okay, so now we've heard rumors, we don't know how true it is, that they want to move Computer Village to a different location. So perhaps it happens. How do you think that you can adapt to it, or I don't know?
Moving Computer Village, I don't think it's going to be easy. Because why? Computer Village is a very general, a central, a worldwide market. Let me put it like that. So, and it's closer to the airport. So moving it from Ikeja to down there, it will be very difficult. Like it's even I believe the Obas here will not even agree that, or the local government chairman, because they are eating from it too. So nobody will allow you take his sugar from his house to give someone else to
Okay,
take.
so what do you have to say to your potential customers and the customers you already have and the potential ones, the ones that are coming to buy from you? What do you have to tell them?
I love them so much because they even till now that up to now that the sales is dropping. My customers for years they still locate me
Wow.
very well, so they are doing a good job for me.
Thank you very much, sir. We have heard what the sellers have to say concerning the prices of phones in Computer Village. Some have complained about the drop of sales, while some have complained about the sellers being more than the buyers. Some have also complained about the government taxation. But that is all we have to take for today's episode of Market Today on Consumer TV. You can catch us every Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays by 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Consumer TV. You can also download the Consumer app to drop your reviews and check the prices of different products. Until next time, I am Matilda Omena. Bye for now.
know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today?
Good morning and welcome to Perspective on ConsumerHallaTV. I am Ire Ayomikuleke. Perspective is where we have discussions about burning issues making the rounds. And on the program today, we are still on the reality of the 2 years in office of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Nigerians feel the impact and effect of fuel subsidy removal in all sectors. And going down the memory lane, remember fuel subsidy removal in Nigeria has been a recurring and contentious issue with a long history, marked by policy shifts, public resistance, and economic debate. Meanwhile, subsidies initially was introduced to stabilize fuel price and make them affordable. And Nigerians have faced a lot of scrutiny due to their cost and potential for the misuse of fuel subsidy. However, past attempts at removal, particularly in 2012 and 2016, has triggered widespread protest and were ultimately reserved or modified. And the most recent removal, announced in May 2023, has led to a significant price increase and continues to be a subject of public debate and concern. And also remember that fuel subsidy was a government policy that kept the price of petrol artificially low by absorbing the difference between the market price and the subsidized price. This policy was officially ended in May 2023, leading to a significant increase in fuel prices. And the subsidy was a long-standing and controversial issue with debate surrounding its economic and social implications. No doubt, the removal using spending on non-essential items. In line to the discussion, I can tell you that I know a lot is going through the mind of Nigerians right now, centering on some questions like why was fuel subsidy implemented in Nigeria in the first place, and why was it removed? What are the consequences of its removal? And I must say, this is a whole lot on the roundtable this morning. And right now, I think I have to introduce our guest on the program, Mrs. Dumebi. Good morning, Mrs. Dumebi.
Hello, good morning.
It's a pleasure to
Good
have you on
morning.
board. It's a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And also, let's have Mr. Moshood Isamotu, public analyst and a former banker. Good morning, Mr. Moshood.
Good morning, ConsumerHallaTV. Thank you for.
Do you think the federal government is on the right track? Talking about the fuel subsidy, I think I would start with Mrs. Dumebi on this one. You know, the saying "ladies first."
I mean, we're coming from a world where we have seen a lot of bottlenecks, right, in fiscal policy and even in monetary policy. We're coming from almost 10 years of fiscal controls, FX market controls, created some form of rigidity, right, in the Nigerian market, in Nigeria's macroeconomic lens. And basically, what this has done is that the pain that Nigerians would have been feeling on a gradual basis, so for instance, removal of the petrol subsidy and the sharp increase in fuel prices, the pain of such magnitude that Nigerians would have been one of the reasons why we see this much impact on consumers today. But is the federal government on the right track for some of these measures that they have taken? The answer is yes, especially when you consider the petrol subsidy removal and how long that had been in place, constituting a lot of fiscal revenue issues for the federal government. But the big question is whether how they went about it was the best approach, right? Not the policy in itself, and how it was, instituted or initiated is where the problem is, and that's why it was this painful, this quick, and this lasting for consumers. And the other aspect of it is, number one, even though the approach to it was not very, will I say, very considerate, right? For lack of better words, considerate, because removals of things like this should have been gradual, should have been phased, so that people are able to live through the pain on a much more easy level, right? Or accommodate the pain much more easily. That wasn't the case. The aftermath of it now is also where there's a problem, and that's because we have over 60% of Nigeria's population living in multidimensional poverty. What this means is that they are very vulnerable to macroeconomic shocks, and an increase in price, or a sustained increase in commodity prices, will consistently keep them below the poverty line. And unfortunately, we have not seen government targeted efforts towards lifting these people or even helping them live through the pain. And what that looks like in practice is provision of social safety nets, right? So we have not seen that consistent communication along the lines of, these are the amount of people that are affected, the amount of people that were given conditional cash transfers to live through this pain. These are the number of people that we're helping to support, and this is how much we're giving to them. This is the method through which we're providing them this means. So I would say that's a very huge gap that has not been filled. So to basically simplify my answer to your question, yes, what the federal government has said to take up is the right step, because it helps us attract investment, it helps prices be cost reflective, and investor sentiments are uplifting. The problem is how it went about, which was quite brash, just ripped the band-aid off. And the other aspect of where it's faltering is the aftermath of it all, where the people that are the hardest hit have not yet been catered to.
A very beautiful and insightful one there. Now over to you, Mr. Moshood Isamotu. Do you think the federal government is on the right track?
Thank you very much. I want to let us understand one thing. Let us examine where we are coming from. If you go to the history of fuel subsidy, that dated back to during the military regime. And then because there was less scrutiny about public accountability, we never knew how much government was saving, how much government was spending. But the advent of civilian regime in 1999 brought more scrutiny, public focus on how subsidy. Now, if we go by what we have used to in this country in the last decades, a lot of money has gone down to government coffers because of this public scrutiny, because of
Hello, Mr. Moshood, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Moshood, can you hear
sorry.
me?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you loud and clear.
A lot of much money has gone into public into first subsidy, and we all knew what happened. That trillions of nairas that were supposed to be saved and transferred to public development and regenerative development, that never took place. We already know what Nigerian factor is when it comes to corruption. So it is just essential that we deal decisively with the issue of first subsidy. Now, there's nothing wrong with the first subsidy, because that is where the government try to protect the vulnerable people, the underserved people, the less privileged people in the society. But the issue is that because of what we have as a country, Nigerians who are supposed to benefit from this subsidy, they were not the same powerful people who are already using the system to corrupt and rid themselves to other means. They were the same people that were also engaged in first subsidy scam. Trillions of money. You remember several committees that were up when they unveiled several trillions of naira that were diverted. So when this president administration came, it was a matter of no more whether first subsidy should stay. The economy had been so bad, so badly managed, battered, that the only option for us to move forward was to deal successfully with this fuel subsidy. On previous administration has planned to do that, but they couldn't do that because number one, they have political will. Number two, they had options to resort to. But by the time President Bola Tinubu took over in 2023, the options had narrowed down. That there was nothing much the government could do than was to this successfully, because the cost of running government was already at a deficit, in which a situation where government had to be borrowing money to carry out current expenditure. No government can start borrowing for current expenditure and the other government will survive, because to go to a level that such will not be sustainable. Number two, when there are no money at all to do capital development, which means economy is stunted completely. So coming into effect in May 2023, first subsidy removal was a matter of a necessity, and we thank the president for the bold move. But the issue is, how has this thing affected the life of ordinary Nigerians? For sure, because the abuses, the benefits, and what have you that Nigeria is supposed to be, the benefit Nigeria is supposed to receive from the first subsidy, they were not getting it. So the burden of the subsidy government have been carrying now weigh down on the, and which is so sudden, and which make it a little bit more very affected the life of ordinary Nigerians. Yes, but if we are to get it right, the issue is that the government, it wasn't a matter of how whether government needed to do that. It was a matter of how government is doing it. Example, I'll give an example. Now, the money that we are saving now from the first subsidy, which in the last, I think for only this year alone, we have saved about 2 trillion naira. And this 2 trillion naira is supposed to be recycled into the system. And this government, because of our constitutional provisions, government is sharing this to state and local government. But the issue is, how many of us are looking at what state government is doing with this money? State government now has triple more than what they were receiving before. The ideal thing will have been for the state government to increase minimum wage. The ideal thing will be for state government to spend less, to spend more money on welfare program. The ideal thing will have been for government to subsidize even some impacting project like agriculture. If you are subsidizing fertilizer right now, nobody will query it, and then you ensure that fertilizer gets to the farmers, and then farming outputs getting bigger, and in the process, we are all enjoying the benefits of good farm yield, and then which can lower the price of foodstuff, which in case is a principal thing for everyone. So it's not whether government should do it. This is how government is doing it. It is necessity, and government should continue, but we let it be structured more so that I can benefit the people. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that beautiful one. And right now, I'm still directing this question to the both of you, but I would prefer Mrs. Dumebi Oluwole to answer first. You know, they saying ladies first. What is your general assessment to the impact of the fuel subsidy removal on consumers in Nigeria in the last 2 years of this government administration?
I think it has been very obvious. We've seen fuel prices, pretty much skyrocket over 50% in the last 2 years. We're coming from a period where fuel was around 200 naira per liter to now 925 naira per liter. But I think it's extremely important for us to also understand the changes to the market structure in how fuel prices are now being determined. Before now, fuel prices were pretty much scheduled and posted by the NNPC, right? The NNPC was the sole, supplier of petrol to other independent marketers, petroleum marketers, and then they were also the ones creating the price or putting up the price for petrol. Of course, the price, captured the landing cost and all, but the main issue was that the market was not deregulated, and so Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector was running pretty much with a lot of market constraints, and I would say rigidity, in the sense that marketers could not recoup their costs because prices were not reflective, right, of what they were spending to actually procure the petrol. And I would say it was a lot of this was hinged on the fuel subsidy regime, right, that was going on. Now, with the removal of fuel subsidy, we are seeing that prices are more cost reflective. The market now is more deregulated. We now have two other main suppliers. With Dangote coming in, the market structure has pretty much changed from a somewhat monopolistic market to kind of an oligopolistic market. But when you break it down further, you realize that we're now running somewhat with market competition. So it's not exactly a perfectly competitive market, because the independent oil marketers are not directly procuring their fuel, so their petroleum products themselves, at least most of them. But what we are seeing now is they're getting from Dangote, also getting from the NNPC. And what that tells us, we're now running a subtly oligopolistic, but it's now competitive, right? So we're running kind of a competitive market now. And what that looks like is we're seeing prices change along the in global oil prices. And over time, I have tried to explain to consumers and business leader, one way now to know how changes in fuel prices are going to happen is when you see this change. The oil prices tell us what our own domestic prices then would look like. There is a lag effect though, because crude oil prices are bought in forward contracts. There is that price lag. There is that time lag of about 2 weeks before we see a change in our oil market, in our own domestic petroleum market. But we have often seen price stickiness take effect. And what that looks like is prices increase much faster than they come down. And when you go further to see how that has impacted, consumers, we see that number one, logistics costs are higher. By logistics cost, I mean the transportation of goods, from one place to the other. Most food items are run with diesel trucks. So with diesel prices, increasing, we're seeing that the cost of moving food items from the north to southwestern states have also increased. And that as well feeds into food prices, right? Then the other aspect of it is transportation cost. People that were spending 50 naira from maybe OPEC to Beggar are now spending 100 naira. People that were spending 500 from maybe Beggar to the Lagos Island are now spending 1,000 or 1,500. So I've seen that increased cost on consumers. Basically, what this has done has contributed to inflation, right? So we have observed over time a 0.018% correlation between the changes in changes in petroleum prices, right, and inflation. And what that means basically is 0.18% is an increase in inflation. A 1% increase in inflation is explained by 0.18% increase in petroleum cost. So basically, that tells us that inflationary pressures have increased, consumer wallets have significantly shrunk over the last couple of years, and it's a situation where this trend would likely continue, not until we see a more stable global oil market, which is going to be very, will I say, difficult to achieve with a lot of uncertainties that we're seeing right now in the market.
Brilliant one from you, Mrs. Dumebi Oluwole. And I must say, linking up to you is a combination of brain and beauty. And now let's move to the next question. Hello?
Thank
Are
you.
you still with us? We've seen the upward and downward movement in prices of essential commodities, e.g., talking about rice, beans, gari in the last few months. And we have also witnessed fluctuation in pump price of fuel. Are these directly related to the subsidy removal in any way?
Of course, yes. Looking at the price of energy, we have seen that, of course, feed into it. But the inflation basket comprises of so many other things beyond just petrol prices. When we look at food items, right, what is driving food prices? I think a major issue right now is very low agri productivity. And what's the definition of agri productivity? Is how well agric input translates into output. And by agric input, we're looking at the raw materials, seedlings, right? The human resource involved. And we have seen over the last couple of years insecurity really thrive in our in our middle belt that is responsible for over 40%, right, of Nigeria's food supply. We just witnessed a recent issue in Benue, and Benue is the food basket of Nigeria. So insecurity being a significant issue continually, drives food inflationary pressures. The other aspect is we'll have huge post-harvest losses, right? With post-harvest losses still at around 40 to 50% of a lot of commodities from tomatoes to yams to onions, that significantly impacts how much, other states get. So when you think about it, produce food, the raw materials or the food items are produced in the north. They are carried from the north to the south, right? Imagine 40 or 50% of of those items lost along the way because we do not have, good storage systems to keep those food items. And that obviously causes food scarcity, or causes a decrease in supply, and that as well feeds into price. We also look at seasonality, right? We're seeing that, during the planting season, some commodities significantly increase, their price increases. Right now, we're seeing the price of plantain significantly high. I'm a very good lover of plantain, so you can imagine how
Oh,
heartbreaking it is to want to buy a bunch of
I can
plantain for
relate.
15,000 naira
Mm.
when you would typically get it for 3,000, right? So what that just tells us is we're not able to produce round the year, and it's a very significant problem because these are not issues that are new to us. Although climate change is becoming a very significant problem that we need to address, we've seen flooding, significantly happen back to back. At least between 2020 and 2024, we have seen significant flooding events that have reduced, our crop produce, right? So that's another issue. We know the issue of logistics, but I think a major thing to even highlight is the informal taxation. So bringing food from the north to a state like Lagos, right? There are over 10 or 20, 10 to 15 stops that transporters will have to pay, right, a premium to allow them move. So imagine that happening right along the lines. That obviously will be fed into the cost of the food item when they eventually get to their destination. And so these are issues that have to be significantly, addressed. When we look at the issue of food security and food prices, we know that there is the internal aspect, and this is not something that monetary policy can control. It rests on the responsibility of the fiscal authorities to address a lot of these issues, from storage facilities, from farm to market access to security issues, right? And then the other aspect of it is imported inflation, right? There are quite a number of food items that we still import. And what that means is that we're exposed to the external shocks that happen globally. So with global, commodities, global food items rising based off of these uncertainties that we have been witnessing over the last couple of years, by the time we're importing, commodities like wheat, corn, and you add our exchange rate devaluation of over 20% to that, you see that the cost of bringing these food items into Nigeria is also higher. Juxtapose our domestic issues with the external issues, you are faced with a significant increase in food prices. Bringing this to the consumers, you realize that it's a huge problem because over 50% of household income is spent on food. So what that means is that with food inflation rising over 30%, you realize that people are spending almost 60% or 70% of their income just to survive.
Many thanks for still being there, and that's a brilliant one, I must say. And now let's move to the next question. Do you consider the current drop inflation rate as artificial or a sign of better days to come for consumers? And what more do you think the government at both state and the federal level should do to improve consumer purchasing power?
Okay, I think I'll start off by saying that consumers are not naive, right? The pain that they feel, the increase in their cost is not coming out of thin air. So, wanting us to kind of quantify that pain and quantify the issues that they face when it comes to an increased cost in living is something that we cannot take away from them, right? So, I will say that the numbers that we have seen from the NBS, they're not artificial, right? The numbers did not magically come from somewhere. It was due to a rebasing exercise. And a rebasing exercise to kind of, number one, make sure that the numbers or Nigeria's inflation basket now truly captures, the additional costs of right, that people face, and beyond that, the additional items that now constitute the consumption basket of consumers. Before now, I think the last reconstitution or the last rebasing was around, I think, 2006. And so we have almost 15 years of not capturing what changes consumers have faced on their daily consumption, on their daily consumption, right? And that's what that exercise was supposed to do. The issue now is that we rebase 2024 as our base year. 2024, which was a year of sharp increases in consumer prices. And what that has done is that we are now coming from a very high base, right? Meaning that in 2025 now we'll be seeing lower year-on-year inflation rates because the shocks that happened in 2024 are not evident again today. They are not happening. There's no petrol subsidy removal. Petrol subsidy has already been removed, and our 2024 numbers captured that. So that's why those numbers are looking. That's why those numbers are low compared to how people are feeling, compared to the astronomical increase in commodity prices for consumers. So the numbers are not artificial. I think the most important thing to actually watch out for right now with our inflation, month-on numbers, not the year-on-year, because the year-on-year numbers could be misleading for business owners who are trying to make sense of Nigeria's inflation. It will be very misleading as well for investors who are also trying to make investment decisions based off of Nigeria's macro situation, and obviously for consumers who cannot even relate to a 20% year-on-year increase when they are experiencing almost 50 to 70% increase in their cost of living. So I'll say the month-on-month inflation is a better gauge for us right now, and we have seen that follow the trend of consumer price changes in Nigeria as of from between January and March or even April. So I would say that the numbers again are not artificial. Of course, they do not necessarily reflect how consumers are feeling or how businesses are experiencing the increase in their cost, but they are not artificial. They didn't magically appear. Obviously, the cosmetic change in the numbers are what is making it look very low. But one thing that we are grateful for on the business side of things is that the central bank understands the methodological changes in the CPI numbers, and they also understand how businesses are feeling, how investors are feeling, and how consumers are feeling, and are obviously making monetary policy decisions based off of that.
Thank you for contributing so well on the table. And now let's turn to Mr. Moshodi Samoto. In 1 minute, what more do you think the government at both state and federal levels should do to improve consumer purchasing power?
No, thank you for that. There are many things the government can do to increase the purchasing power of people, but what people naturally look up to is to increase probably the take-home pay. But I don't that has not worked in economics, because when people increase people's financial power without corresponding output, productivity, you are equally in fighting inflation, and then some of these factors are responsible for the inflation issues we have in Nigeria in the past. Now, what can Nigeria government can do to ensure the purchasing power of people? There are many things. Number one is to bring down inflation. When you bring down inflation, correspondingly, you are increasing the purchasing power of people. Small money will chase bigger, much goods. That is the principal thing. It's not all about money. Inflation is very good in the economy, understand, but steady inflation, stable inflation is very good. But when it comes to hyperinflation that we have been experiencing in Nigeria in a couple of years or 2 or 3 years ago, that is traumatizing for the consumers. So what government need to do at both the state and federal level is to engage in the productive kind of projects that will regenerate, projects that impact people, projects that bring more impact into the people's qualities of life. I will give an example. If you have good roads now, which means people will use less time to commute, which means people have more time to do their work. If energy is reduced, the cost of energy is reduced, if you develop alternative source of energy, and we are able to spend less on our energy consumption at home, businesses are able to spend less on energy, which means naturally the cost of goods will go down, and that translates to people having more powers. These are some of the factors the government needs to do. And also, if you have a good educational system, if government is able to offer education free at both probably up to 5 primary and then a secondary level, that will leave more money in the hand of the parent for them to spend more money. So naturally, what you see that is happening now is that most of the money that government is spending, they are not really impacting on people's purchases. That is very, very significant. Because most of, for example, right now, the government thought of a public control inflation by just a mere pronouncement. And that has not worked, because if you don't back up with productivity, that cannot work. Remember yesterday about government came up with supplying tractors to farmers in Nigeria. But we all read about 2,000 tractors. But you know that 2,000 tractors divided by 774 local government, that is less than 3. That's less than 3 per local government. What do you think 3 tractors can do for a local government in Nigeria today? A situation where you need more people to be on the farm and then let them embrace mechanized farming. That is very less impactful. I would see a situation where government will increase the output, we provide output to farmers, support farmers in real farmers, so that they can produce enough foods and then deal with the logistics of distribution, and then ensure that monopolistic, and then the aspect of our people where people hoard materials, hoard goods. If we can deal with that, I think people will have less, people will spend less in managing their basic necessities of life. Thank you. Hello.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moshood. That's a very beautiful one you've brought to the round table this beautiful morning. And now let's turn to Mrs. Dumebi Oluwole. Okay, let's have your parting shot. Hello. Hello, Mrs. Dumebi. Okay, I guess let's go on a short break. We'll be right back. So welcome back from that short break. This is Perspective on ConsumerHallaTV. And on the program today, we're making reference to the 2 years administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we are critically looking out for the fuel subsidy on the show. And a big thanks to Mrs. Dumebi Oluwole for a contribution on the program right now. And now let's turn to Mr. Moshood Isamotu.
Now, my parting thought will be that we are very lucky that somebody like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu could buy the bullet by removing the first subsidy. But it shouldn't stop there. It will be also on the government right now to see how the interventions they have introduced, initiatives they have introduced, both ad hoc and policy-based measures, how they are affecting the people. A review of these policies is very, very, it's very, very required urgently now to see how they are affecting the life of the people. So government should not relent in constitutionally and then through pronouncement and then presidential orders, see to the fact that the inflation, that the hyperinflation is brought down, and then the sabotage in the system is very under control. And the Nigerians who also in their home hold different tiers of government accountable. We have more money coming to local government. We have more money come to the state government. How has this money been spent? We need to look at that. That is why civil liberty institutions, union, professional associations, they need to rise up and demand accountability. We need to see the pain we are undergoing through the first subsidy removal, how the pain, how we are going to be compensated through development, through welfare program, through facilities, through taking off some of the pain that provisions have been made for in the Constitution. These are my parting shots, but we believe that we are going to get over it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Moshood, are you there? Are you still with us?
Yes, please.
Hello? Please,
yes.
Before you go finally on the program this morning, let's ask you this, just one more question. What alternative energy sources can be the game changer for Nigerian economy? And what role can serve as an alternative energy sources as such a renewable energy play in reducing Nigeria dependence over the fuel subsidy removal?
Now, Nigeria is really blessed. We are using natural. We are using much now. We are using natural gas from Port Harcourt and Niger Delta regions to power our system. But that is just one aspect of the energy sources we could do. And you know that this energy sources is not sustainable for, it's not for life. But there's one that probably the whole world is moving toward on, that power. So which means we can harness the solar energy to do that. Equally, we have hydropower. Hydropower in some section of the soil can be utilized, and we can have even modular energy configurations with the new electricity bills that the federal government has passed, and empowering state governments to now generate their own power. States can now go and implement alternative energy sources that is adequate, that is suitable for the environment. I will expect some states in the north with high solar density, high solar power density, to move in firstly, and then take the term of national grid from natural gas energy power supply system and move that. So, and then wind power is equally there. So what we need to do now is to sit down our scientists, initiate government policies, and then if you know to do a PPP, private public partnership project, involving some developed countries who are already doing great in that area. Look at Japan, look at Spain. Japan right now is using the solar power to power the entire community in modular forms. We can get, if you are even not at that level or gargantuan level, we can equally start from the...
In 1 second before you go, what should the consumers expect between the 6 months and the next 1 year? In 1 second.
Now, I must tell, going by the, we are not operating in isolation as a country. We are going by the policy, by the budget the government has brought up this. You're supposed to have a list of life. We are already seeing a gradual of it in terms of naira. But government open the system, then the foreign rights comes in, and then we are seeing a difference. So I'm expecting that if government gets it right, with what the budget provision we have, the price of goods to come down slightly. As government said that they are aiming to have inflation control to a level of about 20%. If I have inflation from 28%, which is worse, around April, around May, 20%. If we have it reduced to 20% and more people engaged through capital projects, If government faithfully execute that, that will bring a list of life because this will generate multiplier effect all through. These are my parting thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Moshood, for being on the conversation on Perspective this beautiful morning. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day. And now...
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And now we have come to the end of the program. Wednesday morning and the Wednesday edition of Perspective. Another beautiful edition of Perspective will be back tomorrow. And I must say, they've spoken so well and they've contributed so well to the question on board. And I'm thinking that if the necessary bodies take the right step as well explained, I think there should be a great change. And I believe Nigeria will be great again. I am Ire Ayomekoleke. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation this beautiful Wednesday morning. Do well to enjoy the rest of your day.
Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer. And as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our ConsumerHalla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our ConsumerHalla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, We all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrive.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know in the world today, morning and welcome to News on the Hour on ConsumerHallaTV. I am Kikelomo Ajibola. Now the headlines. Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) set to arraign multi-choice CEO over alleged impending investigation. Nigeria set to sign over 30 MOUs with Brazil over landmark visits. Federal government set to raise 100 billion naira with fresh bond issuance. Let's start in the news this morning. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) will arraign Multi-Choice Nigeria Limited, its CEO John Ugbe, and some of the pay TV directors for allegedly impending its investigation and failing to comply with its lawful summons regarding its services. This is according to the charge sheet marked FHC/ABJ/CR/197/2025 filed by the FCCPC legal team led by Insitem Chizemno. As reported by newsmen, the development comes days after the Federal High Court in Nigeria, in Abuja, dismissed Multi-Choice Nigerians Limited suit on the 8th of May 2025, seeking to uphold its DSTV and GoTV price increases in Nigeria. However, in the charge sheet where John Ugbe, Gozie Onumonu, Adewumi Ogunsoya, and 5 others were named as defendants, still in remarks, the Multi-Choice Nigeria Limited was accused of failing without sufficient cause to appear before the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission on the 6th day of March 2025 in compliance with its lawful summons dated 25th February 2025. Another news this morning, Nigeria is set to sign more than 30 Memorandum of Understanding with Brazil as the second session of the Nigeria-Brazil Strategic Dialogue Mechanism kicks off in Abuja. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communication of Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwocha, disclosed this yesterday in a statement announcing the arrival of Brazil's Vice President, Geraldo Alckmin, to begin the high-profile 3-day state visit aimed at deepening bilateral ties between the two countries. According to the statement, the strategic meeting is expected to culminate in the signing of more than 30 MOUs covering a broad range of strategic sectors, including defense and security cooperation, agricultural technology transfer, energy collaboration and transition initiative, cultural and educational exchange programs, and also the trade facilitation and industry development. And another news this morning is the feeling that the latest offer consists of 50 billion naira 5-year reopening bond. Away from that now, let's head to Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) as the agency confirmed the arrest of the former Chief Financial Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Umar Usa, and other top officials who are still under investigation over an alleged $7.2 billion fraud link, raised the alarm concerning alleged discrepancies involving trillions of naira in the audited financial statements of the NNPCL, and the committee described the revelations as mind-boggling and worrisome, underscoring that business development. According to NAN, Olubunmi Koko noted that the renovation, though long overdue, but had been delayed by pending approvals and logistics, but that specific sections would be upgraded in phases, adding that the project will start with the departure area, while operations will be temporarily located to the arrival or a provisional departure facility to minimize disruptions. Now let's head to the east, Owerri, the capital of Imo State, as the Nigeria by eagle-eyed officers following a comprehensive examination of the container, as he further explained that dry donkey skin is a product listed under the export prohibition list by the federal government due to its complications on biodiversity, environmental balance, and the illegal trade in endangered species. Another news this morning, Access Bank has announced the acquisition of Standard Chartered Tanzania's consumer branch Instagram handle driven financial services across Tanzania, East Africa and beyond. Although the Standard Chartered has begun separating its banking presence across sub-Saharan Africa, having sold its shareholding in subsidiaries in Angola, Cameroon, the Gambia and Sierra Leone, adding that these exits become necessary in order to fund incremental investment compliant with the single obligor limits requirement as the debt hearing, and will continue to ensure adherence to this regulation. The company added, meanwhile, the Access Holdings concluded by assuring investors to its commitment to delivering sustainable value in the immediate and long term, and express appreciation for the trust and support of its shareholders. As the news comes to the end, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) has arrested 312 suspects and seized 803.672 kilograms of hard drugs in Akwa Ibom between June 2024 and May 2020. Prevention #break the circle. Meanwhile, only Basi explained that the team reflects a strategic shift from reactive approaches to preventive measures guided by data, research and evidence, noting that from June 2024 to May 2025, NDLEA has arrested 312 suspects made up of 261 males and 51 females and has seized 803.672 kilograms of drugs. She also said they have prosecuted and convicted 38 drug offenders, and they have also carried out drug addiction prevention programs at 91 locations across Akwa Ibom State, as they have rehabilitated 43 males and counseled 179 persons. And that's it for the news this morning. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for more news updates on ConsumerHallaTV. I am Kikelomo Ajibola. Good morning.
Right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that provides right connections for meaningful brands in Nigeria, thus creating a more caring world for consumers where business thrives.
And guess what? Our Consumer Hala brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.
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 At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world.
Connect with us via our YouTube channel and do TV. Consumer of our consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Hey there, do you know we all have the right to be heard?
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel? ConsumerHallaTV.
At ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard. Everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria,
and guess what? Our ConsumerHalla brand is the first consumer complaint resolution portal in Nigeria, powered by a 72-hour feedback mechanism. We offer consumer advocacy, informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page at ConsumerHallaTV. You deserve to be heard. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, And as consumers, we all have the right to be heard. Our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through
Have to be heard.
at ConsumerHallaTV. Do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer. And as consumers,
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media?
at ConsumerHallaTV, our goal is to inform and educate consumers in Nigeria with insightful news alongside development within the fast-paced world of consumers through well-researched, specialized, and analytical content.
Our vision at ConsumerHallaTV is to create an engaging platform that
Informative talk shows, branding promotions, advertising, and lots more. Connect with us via our YouTube channel at ConsumerHallaTV. Follow us on our Facebook page, ConsumerHallaTV, our Instagram page, ConsumerHallaTV, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscription is free. ConsumerHallaTV. At ConsumerHallaTV, you deserve to be heard.
At ConsumerHallaTV.